This is the portfolio rubric guidance for K.CC.A.3. Write numbers from 0 to 20 and represent a quantity of objects with a written number from 0 to 20. To assess this standard, you will ask the students to write numbers from 0 to 20. You are assessing the student's ability to do this. The second part, you are also assessing the student's ability to count a group of objects and then write that number next to the group of objects. This standard has two parts that you will assess. For the first part, write numbers from 0 to 20, or you can call out numbers 0 to 20 out of order and ask them to write the number. Whichever way you choose is fine. For the second part, you're going to have a sheet of paper with 4 different sets of objects for the students to count. That first set of objects must contain 0 to 5 objects. The second set must contain 6 to 10 objects. The third set must contain 11 to 15 objects. And the last set must contain 16 to 20 objects. The teacher will ask the student to count the set of objects and then write the number next to the set to show how many objects were in that group. Reversals are accepted as correct for the kindergarten standard. If it's a reversal of digits in place order value, that is not correct. For example, if the answer is 12, but the student writes 21, then that would not be correct. In the suggested task, you will see examples of what you could do to assess the first part, writing numbers from 0 to 20. You could give your students a recording sheet and ask them to write the numbers 0 to 20. You could give them a recording sheet and say numbers out loud from 0 to 20 in any order and ask them to write those numbers. If you use that assessment, then you would also need to upload an answer key with the numbers that you called out in the correct order that you called them out so that a scorer could grade the student's work. You can assess this standard as a whole group, in a small group, or individually. It is your choice, but it must be 2 parts to this assessment. Once the students have mastered writing from 0 to 20, and they have mastered counting groups of objects from 0 to 20 and writing the number, then you can move into assessing the first grade standard. At levels 6 and 7, you are going to be assessing the student's ability to write numbers from 0 to 120. That's the first part. In the second part, you're going to assess the student's ability to count a group of objects and write the number to represent that amount. These numbers will also be between 21 and 120. This is also assessed in 2 parts. In the first part, call out numbers between 21 and 120. Do not call out any number less than 21. You will call out the number, and the student will write the number. You must use 10 different numbers as long as they fall within 21 to 120. For the second part, you're going to give the students a sheet that has 4 sets of objects for them to count. In that first set, the objects must be 21 to 30 objects. In the second set, the objects must be 31 to 50 objects. In the third set, the objects should be 51 to 75 objects. And in that last set, the objects should be between 76 and 100 objects. The student will count the number of objects in the set and write that number next to the set of objects. Reversals at levels 5 through 7 are not accepted as correct. Note that's at level 5 as well. The suggested task for levels 6 through 7, you can use 10 frames, 10 rods, and ones, and an array of objects on that sheet where they are counting the groups of objects. You can also assess levels 6 through 7 as a whole group, in a small group, or individually. The required method of evidence for this standard is a writing product. It's actually 2 writing products, one for each part. If you chose to call out numbers from 0 to 20 in the kindergarten standard, you must include an answer sheet. If you are assessing at levels 6 through 7, you must also include an answer sheet with the numbers that you called out for the students to write. If the student has mastered at level 5, where they can write all the numbers 0 to 20 without reversals, and they can also count each of the 4 groups and write the number correctly, you can move on to assessing at level 6. If the students can do at least one part at level 6 correctly, then you do not have to upload your evidence at level 5. Once you have collected your evidence, then you want to score the student work. For that first part, the kindergarten standard, if the student is not able to write any of the numbers from 0 to 20 correctly, and they're not able to write any of the numbers after they have counted the sets of those 4 groups, that would score a level 0. If the student is able to write at least 1, but less than 5 of the numbers from 0 to 20, and they can accurately count at least one of the groups of objects and write the number, that is a score of a level 1. If the student was able to write at least 5, but less than 10 of the numbers from 0 to 20, and they could accurately count 2 of the groups of objects and write the number correctly, that is a score of a level 2. A level 3 would be a student accurately writing at least 10, but not all of the numbers, and they can accurately count at least 3 of the group of objects and write the number correctly. At level 4, the student has gotten everything right for both parts. They can write all of the numbers 0 to 20 correctly, and they can count each of the 4 groups of objects and write the number correctly. That scores a 4. The difference at level 5 is that there are no reversals of the numerals. They can still write all of the numbers 0 to 20, and they can still accurately count all of the groups of the 4 sets and write the number correctly, but reversals are not present in any of their numbers to get a level 5. If you are assessing at level 6, the student is able to complete at least one of the parts. They either have 100% on writing 10 of the numbers that you called out from 21 to 120, or they were able to count the 4 groups of objects from 21 to 100, and they got all 4 correct. If either of those parts are 100% accurate, that's a score of a 6. If both of those parts are 100% accurate, that's the score of a level 7.